All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Market Close. I am here in a penthouse in New York City with my guy, Matteo. Matteo, what's up?
Hey, guys. Nice to meet you all.
So Matteo is ex-Palantir. He left earlier this year to start his own thing, and we're basically at the headquarters of his thing right now. I went to get lunch with Steve, so I'm back here with Matteo to do The Market Close. He's got to leave in 15 minutes, but yeah, how's it like running a startup in New York City?
It's very fast. You know, there's infinite things going on. Obviously, being a young company, we have a lot to build and a lot to prove. But the city is like very quickly becoming like the world capital of crypto. For a short while, a few months ago, we thought that maybe the entire industry was going to die in this country. Obviously, with the new admin and all the legislative changes that are coming up, that's very quickly changing. So for us, it's become essential to stay in New York. I've actually also submitted my visa yesterday. So hopefully I'll be able to actually stay in New York, not being a US citizen, but like institutions, top traders, the best hedge funds, the best market makers, the best engineers are all coming to New York as far as crypto is concerned. It's definitely the place to be.
So I met Matteo August 2023. I had lunch with him in the Palantir offices for the first time. He was kind of the first employee I think I ever met from Palantir. And he's smart as hell. That's why he got into Palantir in the first place. He's always wanted to go build his own startup, do his own thing. And that's what he's doing right now. It's just really cool to kind of see you doing this. First of all, I have real bricks too, okay? Just because, oh shit. I'll show you guys when I turn this around. Yeah, we should have done it over there. That background would have been perfect. Okay. So yeah, there's like actual real bricks, even though my bricks are real too. But what was it like working at Palantir for a couple of years? How was that experience?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, like full caveat, like I was a huge Palantir fan, like throughout my time in college and high school. I, perhaps like kind of like a basic story, but I also read 0 to 1 when I was like very young. And so it had a huge impact on sort of how I think about tech, how I think about which problems are sort of worth working on, which people I kind of want to surround myself with. And so really for me, when I came out of college, it was like literally either work at Palantir or go to a startup. And I interned with Palantir in London. It was during COVID. I had like a great time. It's everything that people say is real. It actually materializes in the culture. Even as an intern, you literally get thrown in right away and it's sink or swim. And I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed like speaking to users directly, having clients that rely on you to solve their hardest problems.
You were at the first boot camp, or one of the first boot camps, right?
I was at the very first AP boot camp. Yeah. Pretty much was just going about my day. I had told my lead that I had studied transformers, which is like sort of the core models behind LLMs for my college studies and my graduate thesis. And somehow, I don't know, I just started playing around Slack, and somehow like the kind of circle I was focused on sort of Midwest commercial for Palantir, somehow that was picked as the spot to do the first AIP bootcamp. And I got to be there to first sort of figure it out, because really, there was a lot to figure out, sort of deploying AIP for the first time, getting customers to demo a tool that was sort of new. There were really a lot of challenges, but I mean, it's like one of the things I'm most grateful for. Sort of feel like I got to see a little bit of tech history right there.
He also joined when the stock was $6. So
yeah, not too bad. Not too bad.
You got in kind of right at the bottom. All right. So for those that are asking what he's building, GTE Exchange, it's a really, really cool exchange in the context of they're trying to tokenize everything. So something that Coinbase is doing, Robin is doing as well. What's like 30-second pitch on GTE?
Yeah, so GTE is the world's fastest decentralized exchange. Essentially what that means is that we are the first to provide sort of a full stack exchange that covers asset issuance, meaning anybody can launch a token, into spot trading, into leverage trading with perpetual futures as well. And the kind of one-liner for GTE is that our goal is to build the best place to trade anything from anywhere at any time. A lot of us on the team, I went to high school in Azerbaijan. Many of us on the team are from sort of places where you don't have a stable financial system that you sort of take for granted. So we're really focused on building an exchange that is as performant as the centralized exchanges that you currently see in crypto, but while keeping everything permissionless and decentralized, self-custodial, sort of making sure that an FTX-like situation can never happen again without compromising on user experience or speed for high-frequency traders.
You want to give them some stats on what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, we've been live on testnet, and obviously it's testnet, so it's all fake money. But we've already had like around 650,000 unique wallets on the exchange. We've had done like 140 or so billion in fake money of volume, which is more a testament to the fact of our infrastructure and our order books being able to actually match the many orders as opposed to the actual significance of the money, because again, it is fake money. We've had like millions of tokens launched on GTE. Again, anybody can do so in just like a few clicks. And so, yeah, we're very excited about the degree of traction that we've had in the short 2 months of being live.
That's pretty cool, bro. These Palantir folks, they take their talents if they're too ambitious and they leave and they go build their own shit. So, dude, I'm super excited. Super proud of you as well.
Appreciate you, man.
Super,
super proud of you, obviously killing it. I mean, I think I was the first to write on Twitter that you will be like the Mr. Beast of finance. And I think directionally so far that investment has been a pretty good one. So yeah, bro, continue to kill it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. All right. Well, we got 9 minutes until the market closes. Give me some of your thoughts on the market, bro. You got Circle. Now you're in the crypto space, so you actually understand this company a little bit better than most. Yeah. This is pumping. Oscar's pumping. We'll talk about Hood, guys. Hood almost got to $80 and it topped out at like 79.30 today, 79.40. Circle up 670% since IPO. Is the hype real in your opinion?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, I think that stablecoins are a totally better financial rail for payments across the globe. It's no coincidence that you see SpaceX or other companies that in general have a reliance on hopping around multiple countries and multiple financial rails using stablecoins and being first adopters. I also think that a lot of crypto businesses are extremely efficient in terms of how much money they make per employee. So, you know, some of these numbers, Circle is the first one to IPO, but there's other like Tether, Hyperliquid. If you really look at how much money these companies make relative to their expenses,
right?
It's really crazy. And so I'm not surprised to see a crazy IPO like this, to be honest. Would I buy it? I don't buy tops in general. I don't buy, things like this after a huge run up. But directionally, yeah, I think stablecoins are the future, and I think Circle is going to be a key player.
I think that's what a lot of us feel. I don't know if it's worth 50 billion, but it's not like stablecoins are not going to be something that the world cares about. It's just this is pretty aggressive in terms of its pricing. Robinhood, you've been long this for a while. Any thoughts on Vlad and Co?
I mean, huge respect for Vlad and everything that the Robinhood team has built. Yeah, I've been a user and a fan for as long as I've been investing, which was kind of my mid to early teens. I mean, we honestly look for a lot of inspiration on what Robinhood has done with educating retail in terms of being able to trade options and sort of exposing this new vehicle that has really captivated, I think, retail. It's awesome to see like the sort of asset class and sort of class of investors that we are sort of part of, which has never existed, which is sort of informed retail and actually enabling those people to capture a lot of the best trades over the last few years. So huge respect for the Robinhood team. Love the product. I've been a long-time shareholder. And I'm also very excited to see what they're going to do in crypto. I'm very happy that teams of that caliber are getting into the space.
So you've been working on AI for a long time. Again, Matteo was one of the first people at the Palantir boot camps to launch AIP. Is Nvidia the real deal?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that you see that in the CapEx expenditures of the various Mag 7 and other companies. You see cloud revenues. AI is already in most places and part of everyday life, even though you may not necessarily realize. It's only going to do continuously so. So, I mean, I'm not up to date as you with like balance sheet and things like that. I speak mainly from a directional perspective and sort of how I see technology evolving. But everyone needs Nvidia. So, I think Jensen's going to cook pretty hard and continue to.
Also, he's not my grinder date. Okay, we need to we need to stop this, even though you guys will never stop.
It's because of you, dude. That one time we had dinner a year ago, you were like, "I'm going on a date," and you did a whole thing, and then you revealed at the end that you weren't on a date. You were just having dinner with me.
That's true. I did kind of pump it up to that extent. Someone said Hood will acquire Matteo's startup for billions. Who knows, man? Who knows? That is the dream, right? Is that, or maybe IPO is the dream.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that's
we'll see. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we got about 5 minutes until market close. I'll talk about all the other market headlines. Matteo has to leave in 5 minutes anyway, so we'll get through all that stuff. Google. I don't know why this is down 4%. I didn't look at the markets for the past 2 hours. I don't know why it's down 4%. Do you think Google deserves to be disrespected the way it is?
No, I think it's an extremely attractive valuation. I have a pretty significant position as well.
Ooh, okay.
Google. Yeah, I mean, I think it makes no sense, right? Trading at a P that I think is below the S&P average or right around there. So,
yes.
I mean, I I think that LLMs are going to significantly change the search business. So I am not trying to say that I think Google is going to be necessarily as significant and as dominant as it has been historically, but I definitely think that at this valuation, it's worth a position.
What are your top 5 stocks that you're holding in your portfolio right now?
Well, obviously Palantir, I'm a huge shareholder. I have full belief in that team's execution. Like when I think about where I want my money, there's like very few people or a collection of people in the world that I would trust it with. So,
right.
So I have full confidence in them. I have Robinhood, of course. I have Hims. I have lots of crypto, which are not equities, but Solana is definitely one large position.
You were telling me about Solana at $20. I remember this. I did not take you seriously on that, but it's worked.
And the other biggest one is probably Rocket Lab.
Oh, okay. So that's been, I don't know why it's up 8% today, but is this kind of a mini SpaceX is your belief on this one?
Literally. Honestly, not like a very sort of informed decision from the perspective of their balance sheet and the financials. Purely a play on SpaceX beta and following what you guys talk about, honestly, on that one. And I bought it cheap and it kind of blew up. Like, it's not like I made a huge position initially.
Yeah. You made a lot of people happy by saying Hims and Rocket Lab. So
nice. Nice.
All right, cool. So here we go. We got 3 minutes until the market closes for Friday. Last question I'll ask you. What's a day? First of all, I just saw your headquarters upstairs. It's like 5 people locked in, big desktop screens, just coding. What's a day in your life at what, 24?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
building a startup.
I wake up. I do my very basic morning routine. No sort of Saratoga and stuff. I just brush my teeth and wash my face. Take a shower, and then I go to my desk. I work. I try to get some kind of movement in, or some kind of exercise in before the evening. And then honestly, at night, most of the time, I have calls with Asian funds or Asian market makers. So I'm on the phone until around 9, 10. And then I try to get ready for bed. Honestly, pretty locked in at the moment, especially like we have mainnet coming up, which is when we're going to flip from testnet, which is fake money, to real money. So we have tons of audits, lots of new products, hiring a ton. Our team is 5 upstairs, but we're 13 in total and going to expand it a little bit more. So honestly, at the moment, pretty locked in. Yeah.
It's kind of cool though, bro. Like you get to wake up every morning, try to build, a unicorn.
Yeah.
In the greatest city in the world. You got World Trade Center just like staring at you,
Yeah, no, obviously we've been friends for a long time now. It's everything I ever wanted. So I feel very grateful. But also, you have to stay focused. I mean, you are the best at this, I think. Whenever I text him, like, congrats, I can't believe you're doing this. He's like, I don't care. I don't want to think about it. I got to go to AIPCon in 5 minutes or whatever else it may be. But yeah.
And by the way, Matteo's Twitter is right there, guys. So you can follow him, stay updated on his journey. He's a former Palantir employee, now built his own startup. And it's not even about not caring about it. It's just like you're so afraid of losing all the momentum that you try not to get complacent. I know you know what that feels like. And so, you kind of just stay with the grind. So, all right, here we go. We got about 30 seconds until this market closes. I don't have my bell, but I have Matteo's GTE custom keychain. So that's what we'll be closing it out on. A lot of big stocks. We'll talk about a lot of the Iran-Israel updates over the past couple hours. Bunch of different names that had a big move today. Oscar up 12%. Robinhood almost got that $80 close, but right now we're at $78.50. And we'll talk about what else is going on in the market close as well. All right, I'm gonna let you ring it. Here we go. It is Friday, June 20th, 4 p.m. The stock market is now closed.
Nice. This is for you. You can keep it.
Okay, perfect. I love it. Thank you
for having me. Thank you, guys. Bye.
All right, see you in a bit. All right, markets are closed, folks. We are done for the day. What a Friday it was. The morning was a bit, I guess you could call it volatile to an extent, but the way this market closed out today is pretty interesting to me. And there's a lot of headlines to kind of talk about, and we'll go from there. Hims up 5% on the day. Rocket Lab up 7.86% on the day. Circle up 20%. That's not even the high. Circle is at 248 at one point. Steve and I, during lunch, we could not freaking believe what was happening. Circle is now 65% of Coinbase's market cap. It does not do the same amount of free cash flow as Coinbase or anywhere near it, but Circle getting some momentum. Palantir down about 1.9% of the day. Robinhood, some interesting stuff happened with Robinhood today that we didn't talk about yet. We will get into it, but let's just say they are going for every single industry, and we'll talk about that in just a bit. Robinhood right here up about 0.119%. I did buy Robinhood today at 76.92, about 150 shares at 76.92. And then, of course, I had to buy Grab about 1,500 shares at 450. Grab right here, 449, down 3.65%. We'll talk more about that in a bit, but I did buy more Grab today. AMD right here up about 1%. S&P down about 0.24. Google, I have no idea what happened with Google today. If anyone knows, let me know in the chat. Like, I guess I didn't pay enough attention to every headline to find out why this is happening, but it has to be a headline. There's no way people sold Google to buy Circle, or maybe they did, but I feel like something else is going on. Taiwan Semi down about 2%. Nvidia down about 1%. Meta down about 2%. Kind of old. The Max 7 took a little bit of a beating today. Coreweave right here up 8% on the day. Coinbase up 5% on the day. Zeta, a lot of you guys were talking about this stock in the market open. I don't know enough about the stock, about $3.5 billion market cap. That was up 12% on the day. SoFi, Steve's covered calls are safe. Closed at 15.20. He had them at 15.50. So SoFi right here down also about 1% on the day. Apple, foldable phone rumors getting it above 200. That's the only reason I think Apple's up today. Reddit right here is also down. It was at 148 in the morning. Now it's at 139. Got Elf right here. That's flat or down about 2% of the day. Rocket Lab had a great day, 8%. ASTS got to 48 at one point. ASTS right here, 45.94. So that one chilled out a little bit as well. AMD was at 132. That one at 138. And then Oscar, big day. That was almost at 23. Ended at 21.24, up about 12% on the day. So there you go. That's what we got in terms of some of these moves in the broader market. Let me know what you guys did in the chat. If you guys made any buy, sells, sold any puts, calls, etc. Let me know what everyone else did in the chat. The data breach on the passwords, I don't think that's enough to take Google down 4%. Like I feel like that could have been to everybody. That could have been to Meta, Google, etc. So I don't think that's a Google specific thing. I mean, it could be, but I feel like something else happened. I think you guys said there's a fine for $5 billion from the EU. It's like 15 billion of it. The UK fined them 6 billion 2 months ago. So at this point, that's like a lot of fines that are stacking up. Maybe that's the reason. But yeah, it feels like there had to be a little bit more of a specific headline as well. 21.24 right here on Oscar. Palantir again, 137.30, down about 2%. Grab right here, down 3.65. And then HIMS up 5% on the day. Circle ended again, 240.89 green on the day. Dark Pool was short, apparently. Yeah, it might have been. I mean, we talked about those puts, the 450 put that had tons of call volume or tons of put volume 2 days ago. Someone bought like 500K worth of those 450 puts. Those puts were up 30% on the day. So they did get what they wanted to see in terms of some of that momentum to the downside. All right, so let's talk about some headlines, and then we'll go deeper into stuff. First of all, let's talk about this in the context of Robinhood. This was a big one. Yeah, VG also great day, up about 4%. So VG, Rocket Lab, HIMS. I mean, a lot of these names had a great day along with Oscar, right? So lots and lots of these names gapping up 4 or 5%. Lemonade as well. We're doing the Lemonade deep dive next week. I still don't fully understand Lemonade, but that one we'll do a deep dive on next week as well and try to get some understanding of it. All right, here's the big news. Robinhood's going for mortgage rates. So someone posted this about 3 hours ago. When you sign up for Gold, one of the new features of signing up for Gold is that you can get an exclusive mortgage rate. Get a rate at least 0.75% lower than the average. So this is really interesting because if we're talking about mortgage rates now, and you hear some more details right here, it's like legit. You can see right here, they're offering 6.12 versus 6.87. That's almost a percentage down. That's not bad. You can apply for it, get pre-filled, lock in an exclusive mortgage rate. They're also giving you $500 of closing credits if you sign up to get a mortgage with them. They're doing this through Sage Loans, Sage Home Loans. Some of you guys might know that company. I'm learning about them today. And the way I think this is going to work is just a referral. Like, you know how SoFi is doing this whole loan platform where like they don't have loans on their balance sheet because that creates all the risk. They just give the referral from their distribution of members to another company that's going to actually underwrite the loan. I think Robinhood is going to do the same thing. And why wouldn't they? It's pretty simple, right? Like Robinhood has 25 million users. 14 million of them are active every month. I would imagine a certain percentage of them are in the market to either buy a home or refinance a loan. If you could do it right through Hoodie and it gives you a way better rate than anything else that you're getting, I mean, why not, right? And then I mean, I don't think they've talked about this, but if they can use your stock to collateralize some of the loan, and then your loan gets even cheaper, which again, that is risky to an extent, but let's say they go down that route and they really can ramp up the volume in terms of the amount of loans they can sell or refer to, then I think it can get very exciting. So Robinhood right here, 78.50, did pump to 79.38. It kind of looks inevitable that this bad boy wants to go to all-time highs at 85. But that was some big news this morning. And I think that was pretty exciting to kind of see that play out. On top of that, one of the most bullish things ever that could happen for Robinhood is our boy, Mr. Stephen Fiorillo, wrote an article about them. He didn't buy the stock, but he wrote an article about it. And you had some people that were kind of upset at his article because he was a little bearish on SoFi in the article as well. But he said Robinhood becoming the Costco financial services rating upgrade. He's still not buying it. He thinks it's a little bit too pricey right now. But yeah, he is bullish. So there you go. We got Steve on the bandwagon now, looking at Hood as well. So those were some of the updates on Robinhood, mortgage rates they're getting into, and it looks like that could be a brand new growth vertical for them, which would be very, very important. In terms of the lunch with Steve, this is what Steve looked like. You can see, I was like, all right, let's take a picture. And his hand, you can just imagine Steve right there being like, why do we need to take a picture? And his hand movement is kind of showing the same thing. That's exactly what he said. He's like, why do we need to take a picture? I'm like, because I'm trying to capture the memories, bro. I'm trying to capture the freaking memories. But he was like, why? And so I'm happy to capture the memories. Now, unfortunately, while we were capturing the memories, our good friend Tanner also decided to create memories. And he used AI to create. Dude, this was ridiculous. During the whole freaking lunch, we just it's insane. And then Tanner started doubling down on this shit. And Tanner was like, "Hey, this is Steve taking you to your robotaxi after lunch." Like, this is really what AI is used for, guys. This is the AI use case. This is what we are spending billions of dollars of GPUs on. It's for this. It's just Steve's gonna have a little bit of a word with Tanner tonight, but this was hilarious. Now, granted, he does have biceps. His biceps are pretty damn big. Like, he keeps saying he's not jacked. I'm like, bro, you're jacked. You're absolutely jacked. Someone else put another picture. I'll try to find it here, but they even inflated his biceps even more. Yeah, AI is pretty freaking incredible. So yeah, that tells you AI is worth billions. Oh, the meatballs were okay. So the actual dinner itself. So I still have some right here because I couldn't eat all of it. The pizza was phenomenal. I think it was some of the best pizza I've had in over a year. Some of the most authentic New York City pizza. Patsy's, 801 2nd Ave. That's the restaurant. The chicken parm was great. The meatballs were amazing. I mean, we had some cheesecake after. It was a good lunch, bro. It was a good lunch. And his office is so close. So I was like, I can understand why Steve would want to go there every other day for lunch. But it was a great lunch. It was a great lunch. I didn't even tell you guys what happened. Dude, I wasn't supposed to be here today. So I had to rush and leave out of the market open so I could go catch the train because I'm an hour away from the city. I get to the train station. I'm there for freaking 20 minutes. And then some lady comes down and she's like, oh, the trees fell in New Jersey. And so none of the trains are working today. Apparently there was a thunderstorm yesterday and the trees fell on the train tracks in New Jersey. And like, I guess they didn't put the update on the website or anything. And yeah, so then I had to make a decision. Do I take a freaking Uber to New York or do I stay home? And I was like, if I don't go this week, I'm probably not going to go because it's so busy to get here. So I took a freaking Uber, paid $90 freaking to come to New York City, but we're here. We're in New York City. It is what it is, bro. It is. I don't live in JC yet. In August, I'll live in JC. In August, the Uber would have been like maybe $30, but it is what it is. I knew if I didn't do it this time, it's just every week it would be delayed. So I'm happy I came, and I'm going to be hanging out with Matteo afterwards, and I'll be able to see some people as well. But yeah, overall great day, great lunch, and the markets in general had a very interesting interpretation of everything that's going on, and we'll talk more about that in a second. But overall, things ended relatively flat. S&P 500 down about 0.24% of the day. In terms of grab, look, I think this is getting stupid at this point. I ran through the numbers again for like the past hour while I was just sitting here. This doesn't make sense to me. Like, I'm not going to buy Oscar going up 20%. I'm not going to buy Hims up 10%. I'm not going to buy Circle up 700%. I'm going to buy the stuff that's not moving because like you tend to, yes, you can chase the momentum and that can work sometimes. But after this much of a run, I personally want to buy the shit that's not moving. I want to buy the stuff that I think is a fundamental thesis that's still flat. At this point, Every 55 cents on the dollar that you are buying in Grab, you are buying cash, which means you're basically getting the delivery and mobility business for free. So to me, this is just getting stupid. And I think they have a plan with this money. I don't know what the plan is. Maybe I'll be wrong, but I did buy 1,500 shares today. And so we will see how this one plays out over the coming weeks. But I would imagine it's close to bottoming. And if it's not, then, I guess we got some more pain to go. I just can't understand why this would trade at 70% cash. Like at some point, it gets a bit ridiculous. And I feel like at 55% cash, it's starting to get ridiculous. Tesla right here. Robotaxis are starting. Pumped to 332, fell to 317, closed at 322 on the day. I don't think there's much to explain for this other than the robotaxis are not going to be real for a while. Like they're starting in Texas in a couple of days, but that's not going to meaningfully impact Tesla's bottom line. It's not going to stop Q2 from being a crappy quarter. So from that perspective, it could be logical for it to be a sell the news, but hopefully that just creates a good dip buying opportunity for Tesla. I don't think this thing needs to pump to 350, 370 just because robotaxis are at. There's going to be a lot of hype, a lot of influencers, a lot of videos, a lot of photos, all that stuff that could potentially hype up the stock. But at the end of the day, like they still have to show actual numbers to get this one moving. So outside of that, I think Tesla flat on the day kind of makes sense. 64.22 on HIMS. That one was up about 5% on the day. That one getting some love from that ad they released a couple days ago, a little bit of a delayed reaction, but that one got some momentum. And then Nvidia right here, 143.85. This was also down 1.12% on the day based on new chip export controls the United States is putting on China, which I'm still confused why exactly we're going that aggressive on China. But nonetheless, that was one of the reasons why Nvidia was down today. So yeah, Grab is under the 200-day moving average, which either means it's tanking below 4 and trading at 70% cash, or that's exactly where it needs to be before the next leg up. It's really one or the other at this point. I don't imagine it stays flat at 440, 450 for the next couple weeks. It's either going back to 5 or below $4. So we're going to see. We're going to see how this plays out, but that is why you got to have some conviction, and this is where it really tests your patience to be able to, own a name at the end of the day. But some of these high flyers, it has just been incredible to see. One of the things I talked about with Steve at the lunch is just why we think there's these many high flyers. And quite frankly, I'm curious what everyone else thinks as well. I think there's a little bit of 2021-ish going on right here. Now, I'll give the bull and the bear case for why it's not 2021, but I think the three questions are we in 2021? Is there too much liquidity? And are people just bored with old names and risking capital towards new one? And I think the answer to all three of those questions is yes, with some caveats. So number one, is there too much liquidity? Yes, but also rates are 4.5%. And there's $7 trillion on the sidelines. So even if there is too much liquidity, and when I mean liquidity, I mean people might have made, 5x on HIMS, and they might be selling it to dump those profits into Circle, right? People might have made 10x on Palantir. They're taking those profits and putting it into another stock. So from that perspective, there is liquidity, even if the restrictive rate is still high. You also have the Fed buying back some of their bonds, so that's helping with quantitative easing. Number two, are we in 2021? I think, yeah, this is the definition of being in 2021, where a random IPO comes to public and goes up 4 or 5x. However, I don't think it's a 2021 that is catastrophic in terms of the stupidest companies in the world are going public. Circle is not a stupid company. It's an incredible company. It's just probably an expensive company at this valuation. But that doesn't mean the whole market has to collapse like 2022 happened, because there was just so much liquidity and interest rates were so low that everything had to collapse. But is it 2021-esque? Yes, 100%. And Chamath bringing SPACs back, I think, is emblematic of that. But that doesn't mean things have to keep going down. And then the third question, are people just bored with old names and risking capital towards new ones? I think the answer to this is unequivocally yes. I think people are absolutely bored with Google, especially when Google's not moving. I still don't know why Google was red today, outside of maybe the fine they got, but it doesn't deserve another 5%. And 5% on a $2 trillion company is a lot of money. I don't think that they deserve that. And I think they're like, hey, my Google's not moving. I'm going to Circle. I'm going to Oscar. I'm going to something else. And I think that's fair in the moment, but eventually that money finds its way back to Google. It finds its way back to Nvidia. It finds its way back to Microsoft. And so the question just becomes, will that money quickly find its way back, or is that money going to stay stuck inside of the high flyers? And I don't think anyone knows. But Steve's argument was that $7 trillion on the sidelines, rates are inevitably coming down, and you've got the AI tailwind. There's no need for a Circle to have to come back to $80. Could it? Sure. But does it have to? No. Does it have to go to 500? No. But does it have to collapse like people that are shorting? Like, no. The quantum names, do they have to collapse? Of course not. There's just enough money in the system to keep these things going, which means there could be another 5-year kind of bull market with some hiccups, obviously, because of the tailwinds that we're seeing and the tailwinds that will be supported through the macro. So from that perspective, I think, markets still have the ability to hold on. ASTS right here closed at 45.94. Again, that was at 48.94 at the top of the day, closed up still 4%. ASTS has a price to sales of 3,200. Obviously, that's not the only way to judge the stock. But the point is, if there's so much money that's ready to buy something like that, it's a lot of chasing as well. You got some people like an Ann Panman who was on our deep dive who actually understands the thesis. Then you got a lot of other people that are just borrowing his conviction and buying it for the hell of buying it, which is fine. It's just a question of, how crazy does some of that stuff get, or does it chill out a bit going into the end of the year? And I think none of us have the full answers on that right now. Robinhood did touch 79 today. So it did get that 79 level, but kind of chilled out at 78 as well. Economy is strong. Earnings are strong. We are just at innovation inflection. I agree with that as well. Not only is the economy doing well based on the labor market, which again, that can be nuanced based on the data you look at, but I think this is Jay Powell's point. If the labor market's strong, inflation's coming down, but it's not coming down enough to deal with the tariff threat. And eventually we're going to get some trade deals, which we have some updates on that we'll talk about. That's your bull case. And enough of that of a bull case means that, equity prices can be supported. And if we do get a little bit of a dip and people start buying T-bonds, that's also good for equities. Maybe they would be selling off equities to buy bonds, but it would be supporting bonds or supporting equities because eventually that would be lowering yields, which would be great for the cost of capital. That would be great for mortgage rates. That would be great for the housing sector. As long as either stocks go up and rates come down, or stocks go down, people buy bonds, which also has yields to come down, but that ends up benefiting the economy, which gets people to buy stocks again. So whichever way you dice it, there is a way to justify a bull market. And that's not even mentioning all the AI momentum that's not going anywhere. Some updates on what's going on with Israel, Iran. So Iran said it's open to continuing nuclear talks with the US. And specifically, they said that they are open to diplomacy. So the Wall Street Journal reported today that Iran is open to diplomacy with the United States. It's a little weird that they are saying that today they're open to diplomacy. Maybe because they're realizing they don't want to get into an actual war with the United States. But based on what was reported today from the Wall Street Journal and New York Times, it looks like there might be some level of diplomacy that Iran's foreign minister is potentially ready to consider. He was at Geneva today in the European conference talking about their nuclear ambitions as well, or the lack of their nuclear ambitions. But then you had this update today that wasn't the best either. Japan scrapped their meeting with the United States after the U.S. demanded higher defense spending from Japan. So Japan has been in the United States for the past week. They're also going to Canada. Their foreign ministers have been talking to the U.S. about different negotiations for trade deals. And apparently the FT is reporting that they don't want to meet with the U.S. today because the U.S. is asking them to spend more money when it comes to defense. I have no idea why we're asking Japan to spend more money on defense. Japan has a debt to GDP ratio of over 250%. Japan's bond yields have been spiking over the past couple of weeks. I don't really know why we need them, especially because NATO is already committed to spending 3 to 4% of their GDP in defense. So I don't know what Trump was trying to get here, if this is accurate. But I mean, maybe he's just saying whatever he wants to say to get Japan to come back to the table. But as of now, the meeting looked like it could be scrapped. And then on top of that, you had Trump go against Tulsi Gabbard today, who is the director of national intelligence. He said Tulsi Gabbard was wrong about there being no evidence of Iran building a nuclear weapon. I think Iran was weeks or months away from having a nuclear weapon. So now you got Trump disagreeing with his pick for the director of national intelligence, saying, hey, no, I kind of think Tulsi was wrong. I think Tulsi's been saying for the past 7 months, Iran's not building a nuclear weapon. And Trump today going the opposite, saying, nope, I think they were close. And because I think they were close, it's time to potentially attack because of that. So yeah, that is the kind of update geopolitically on how this is playing out with Japan and the United States. Now, in the midst of that, one of the funniest things that Steve said at lunch, he was like, we're about to hit World War III and the market doesn't care. And it's just true, right? I don't think we're actually going to World War III. By the way, Putin did say today that we have to think about World War III. He had a quote. He was like, hey, the world is getting closer to World War III. I commented under that. I was like, yeah, but Circle's up 20%. So even Putin's like, hey, I am concerned about the world drifting to World War III. And the market does not care. Circle up 20%. Coreweave up 9%. You'd think the most expensive names in the market don't continue to pump if we are at all concerned about any geopolitical headlines. And that's just not the case. That's just not the case right now. Now, maybe the market will eventually care if we actually escalate to a certain degree. Israel's Channel 13, which is a big media source in Israel said today that the U.S. is weeks away from launching an attack on Iran. Now, obviously, Israel has an incentive to say that because they want the United States to launch their attack. So we don't know if that's fully true. But based on what Trump is saying about, hey, Tulsi was wrong about nuclear weapons, and like, yeah, I tried to negotiate with them, but they just wouldn't sign the deal. It kind of, when you read between the lines, you think, all right, maybe Trump's getting ready to attack as well. And again, like we talked about in the morning, if they do attack, the inevitable outcome is a regime change. And I don't think any of us know exactly what the process will look like for a regime change. But if it's Iraq 2.0, I don't think a lot of us are going to like that. And I don't think American soldiers want to have boots on the ground to be able to make that happen. So this is a really dicey situation. And in the midst of trying to get trade deals, like I thought this summer was going to be about trade deals and like getting as many as we can with South Korea, India, Japan, etc. And now it looks like it's about Iran and the, ever pressing need to get them to not get a nuclear weapon, which I don't even know as an American, is that propaganda? Is that Iran has a nuke, they're telling us Iran has a nuke because they need to go in, or does Iran really have a nuke and they really want to bomb the United States? Like, I don't know. I don't have enough information to say that yet, but I think that's a big debate in this country that's going to be happening over the coming months because people are really curious. What is the reason for us getting so involved in the way that we are? Trump said 13 minutes ago that intervention won't be likely. I don't think it will be likely either. I mean, I think they can get the job done if they want to do a regime change or get rid of their nuclear facilities through airstrikes and things of that nature. But eventually there's going to have to be some level of the United States either going to Iran with some boots on the ground or dictating who is the new leader, who is the new king, who is the new president. How do you determine who? Or otherwise, it's just a power vacuum. And we've seen how that's played out in Syria, and it obviously didn't work out the way that Obama thought it was going to work out. So these are really dicey questions that I don't think any of us have the answer for, but so far the market is not acting like it matters. Accenture, by the way, down 7%. Their guidance was a bit crappy for 2025, so that's why that one took a little bit of a hit. SoFi right here, 1520, that was down about 1%. Everything else throughout the broader market today was flat, besides Google, and the S&P down about 0.35% on the day. Yes, we are also 37 trillion in debt. We talked about that in the morning. Nice little 37 trillion in debt. Are you hedging with any military stocks? I'm not. I haven't thought of it that deeply. I mean, I have Palantir. I guess you could say that's a pseudo hedge, but I haven't really thought of going heavy on the military stocks yet. I don't see the evidence for this escalating to such a degree that it's like, does Trump really want to be the guy getting us into another war that's going to last the rest of his presidency and maybe the next presidency after that? I really don't think so. But the way he's talking doesn't make it seem like he's necessarily against it, which makes me think either he has really good intel that Iran has a nuke or they're very close to getting a nuke, and that's very scary for obvious reasons, or there is some other reason for why we care this much about the situation. The war is data dependent. Yes, exactly. The war is data dependent. And so I don't know. I have no idea. But I think all of us cannot say definitively that this is not Iraq 2.0 or that this is Iraq 2.0. I think we will know in the coming weeks what it's leaning towards, but it could be one or the other. And I think that's the part that markets are also confused about currently right now as well. Cool. So that's what we got going on. Thoughts on Grab? Again, I said it already. Look, here's my thing on Grab. I'll say it again. I don't want to have to keep saying it, but if you don't want to be part of the story, then you should just sell and get out, right? This is one where and the reason I'm saying this is because until the market knows what they're doing with the $9 billion in cash that they have, I don't think the stock's going to move. And that's okay. I'm okay waiting for that because I think whenever they announce what they're going to do with that cash, that's going to lead to asymmetric upside based on the fact that they raised all this cash at a 0% coupon. Like, I think there's a strategy here. I could be wrong. All of us could be wrong. But if you don't want to wait to find out, then, you go buy something else. My point just here is, this is why I keep bringing up the whole chasing thing. It's like, if you're in a name that's going down and you believe there's something fundamental besides chasing something that's already up 40%, where maybe the upside is another 10%, but it's definitely not another 200% like it already got, you buy the thing that's down, right? You buy the thing that no one likes. Because when people were buying Oscar at 11, it was because no one cared about it. And so they were buying the thing that now is at 22. And so it happens time and time and time again. You buy the dip on something that you believe will work, even if the market doesn't believe it's going to work. And if you don't want to be part of the story, if you're just not interested, then you get out and you move on. But that also doesn't mean you get out just because you want to chase something that's moving up. But look, if you really don't care about Grab, go to Nvidia. There's so many other opportunities out there in the market. It's just a question of, do you believe that there's something there over the coming years? But I believe they're going to do something with their cash. Like, again, the thesis, I've laid it out time and time again. I don't think Howard Marks is buying it for no reason. I don't think Ray Dalio is buying it for no reason. I don't think 80% of the float tied up by institutions is happening for no reason. I don't think they raised 1.5 billion oversubscribed round at a 0% coupon with a 40% premium to their share price that for no reason. And I don't think buying a stock at 55 cents on every dollar you're getting in cash is bad. I think the downside is severely de-risked, which now just becomes a question of what's the upside. And no one knows, but that's kind of the whole point of investing and taking the risk in the first place. All right, cool. Let's see what else we got going on right now. Grab's PE ratio is 830 because they just became profitable. PE is not something you should care about when it comes to Grab. PE is PE. It doesn't really matter. So, I mean, PE matters when you're like a mature company like Google, Amazon. Like when you're just growing, that PE is going to get cut in half every other quarter as they keep growing their net income. So with growth stocks, I mean, that's what really matters. I mean, again, Grab's enterprise value is 10 billion. They're going to do 3.4 billion in revenue. Like, again, we've seen these setups before, and it tends to work out if it's a solid company. Margin expansion and operating leverage is really all the street cares about. And as they grow their margins, which is kind of the point, I think, of raising all this money to be able to acquire competitors and then solidify their operating leverage, street tends to respect it. So I think for that, you just got to be patient over time, and then it kind of plays out. That PE will correct by itself on its own over the coming months. Robinhood right here, 78.50, up about 0.19%. Rocket Lab, 30. Why did Rocket Lab pump today? Does anyone have any context why Rocket Lab went up? Because I have no idea, but it was up 7% on the day. ASTS also pumped. Kind of all of them pumped at the same time, but I'm still not sure exactly. Did Triple V give any reason for JetBlue? He just said it's short. That's the only thing he said. It's short 20%. So there is no JetBlue thesis. I don't really care much about this today. It's 20% short. I think he sees it as an acquisition candidate, and that's why he's buying this one. But other than that, there's no other major thesis. Google right here, 166.90 after hours, and then Oscar 21.26 as well, currently after hours. The SpaceX explosion, really? You think that's the reason? Because rockets go up? I like that. That's every time Rocket Lab goes up, that's what I'll say. That makes sense. Oh yeah, Seaport Research. I forgot. They gave Circle a buy. They gave it a price target of 250. And it's so weird because Seaport Research also gave Nvidia a sell for $100. So it's not really the best research firm to look to for like stock picks, because I don't think Nvidia is going to freaking 100. But they did say buy Circle, which is kind of weird. You would think if they say sell Nvidia but buy Circle, they would be, they wouldn't kind of go in that direction. They would probably put a sell on both of them. But I guess stable coins matter more to them than GPUs. ETF updates across the board. So what do we got? I am down 1% all time. Steve's up 0.18. Tanner's up 1.1, or Tanner's down 1.13. Matt's up 7. Chris is down. How did Chris go down 1% today? What tanked? Chris was like almost up in the morning. Was it Elf today that got hit? I think it was Elf. Yeah, Elf. Elf got hit. That's what messed up Chris. Okay, so in first place is Matt. In second place is Steve, actually, because Chris is now negative. Chris is third. I'm fourth, and Tanner's fifth. App Lovin' is really hurting Tanner, but Coinbase is really helping Tanner. So if he didn't have App Lovin', Coinbase would have probably had him second or third right now. And then for me, Apple actually kind of helped today. Grab going down did not help. Visa has been a disaster for me. And then the rest of them have been relatively decent. So that's what we got in the context of the stock draft. Yeah, Coinbase had a great move today as well. Matt is running away. Dude, Matt has Oscar. He has freaking ASDS. He has Rocket Lab. He has everything. He has everything that's like mooning right now. He has SoFi too. So it looks like Matt's gonna have a good one. K. Rogers, thank you for the $25 super chat to admit the Sydney Sweeney of investing, the market's newest thirst trap. I appreciate that. When Mike Gallagher called me the Sydney Sweeney of the internet, that was hilarious, bro. That was so funny. So thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you being here. And Sydney Sweeney of investing. It's a hell of a title. Sydney Sweeney is beautiful, by the way. Let me just say that. She's absolutely gorgeous. She, like, the hype behind her, I think, is real. Like, she's beautiful, in my opinion. Alex, thank you for becoming a channel member as well. Alex Deacon, thank you for becoming a channel member. Jeffrey, thank you for the $5 super chat. What if Powell is waiting for tariff inflation that never comes because he's scared of Trump being right and himself wrong? What if he's driven by ego? I don't think your take there is that crazy. I think a lot of people are assuming that Mr. Trump could be, or Mr. Powell could be driven a little bit more by ego based on the tariff inflation versus anything else. Now, granted, I think he's waiting for trade deals, which would solidify the average tariff rate coming down, which is my hypothesis on what's going to play out. But if he keeps waiting that much, then, you know, it's going to be something that's going to take some time. So, yeah, but hopefully that doesn't play out as bad as the market thinks it's going to be. Celsius did a share offering. Did they? Are they tanking? Oh boy, they're down 2%. All right, how much did they raise? How much? I'm going to bet 500 million. I'm guessing 500 million. How much? If this is actually correct, they're doing a share offering. Down 2% after hours. It looks like they are if they are doing it. Let's see how much they're doing it for. Sydney Sweeney was the girl in Euphoria. Honestly, that's the only reason I know her. I don't know what else she's done, like from an acting perspective. I don't see their SEC filing yet, but I'll try to see. The stock is down about 2%. Are they raising for acquisitions? They might be. Micron, yes, reports on the 25th. Iran's foreign minister says we do not know how we can trust the Americans anymore. Okay. All right. I mean, we haven't trusted the Iranians for a long time anyway, so I think that's fair either way. I'll try to see if the Celsius update comes out. I don't see it on my screen yet. Stock is down a little bit after hours, so that could be the reason, but that also could be something else playing out with Celsius. Yeah, I think Iran needs to. Yeah, they do. Like saying death to America doesn't really give us a lot of trust either, to be honest. If they're not doing a share offering, that's good because Celsius already bought Alani for $2 billion. So I don't think, and they already did a share offering last year, right? Around August. So it would be kind of surprising. Now, I wouldn't doubt it because the stock's up a lot. It's up 60%. So, why wouldn't they raise some money? But if they didn't, that also wouldn't be surprising because they probably don't need to. Any Apple news? The only reason Apple pumped today is because the foldable iPhone is now becoming more prevalent, which, I joked in the morning that it's some big deal. It's not. I think it's the dumbest thing ever. I think it's going to be a fail, dude. Who's going to buy a foldable iPhone? Like, you got to be a certain type of person to actually get value out of a foldable phone. I've seen some people that really like the foldable phone idea, but the majority of people I don't think care about a foldable phone. So if that's their new innovation, I just think that's going to be a little boring. Trump posted, or let's see. Why is he talking about Harvard? Okay. Many people have been asking me what is going on with Harvard University and their large-scale improprieties that we have been addressing, looking for a solution. We have been working closely with Harvard, and it's very possible that a deal will be announced over the next week or so. They've acted extremely appropriately during these negotiations and appear to be committed to doing what's right. If a settlement is made on the basis that is currently being discussed, it will be mind-bogglingly historic and very good for our country. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Dude, I love how he says thank you for your attention to this matter every time. It's like, hey, we might end up taking out the Iranian supreme leader. Thank you for your attention to this matter. It's like every time he just lets us know that he's we read his tweet about something kind of crazy. Okay, Dan Ives is live talking about Tessie. Let's see what Mr. Ives has to say about robotaxis.
As backups, but bulls on the street say this moment could be key for Tesla's growth, justify the multiple. Joining us now is Dan Ives, Wedbush Global Head of Technology Research. Dan, happy Friday.
Great to be here.
So Alphabet's Waymo is way ahead of Tesla on autonomous execution. So how much better does Tesla have to be? You have to believe its model is to believe it's $1 trillion opportunity for Tesla alone.
Yeah, look, Waymo clearly, the big head start, but 4 cities, $230,000 cars, right? I mean, my view is the golden age of autonomous starts on Sunday in Austin for Tesla because it's the scale and scope. I mean, John, my view is 25 to 30 cities in the next year. And as they start scaling cybercabs and get the true level 4, I believe it's a $1 trillion opportunity valuation for Tesla. And I think this is actually the start of their biggest chapter of growth and actually valuation upside.
Don't they have to be almost perfect to get to 25 to 30 cities within a year, to have that kind of scale? And so how do you factor risk into this model too? I mean, to ramp this, Tesla has to first put its own vehicles on the street, but it also wants Tesla owners to offer up their cars as well. Do they need that to achieve the profitability that make them worth $1 trillion?
It's a great question. I don't think that they need that. I mean, to me, it's really, when I view cybercabs and where I see this all going, I mean, I think ultimately 20% of the transportation industry, in my view, will be autonomous when we look out the next 6, 7, 10 years. I think Tesla, it starts off with, when you look at what's happening with cybercab, but ultimately other automakers, they're going to have to OEM that technology from Tesla. So my view is that this is the start. When you think about AI and you think about true AI and really what the golden goose is going to be, autonomous, Tesla, I believe, is going to lead this market handily. And ultimately, it all starts on Sunday with the launch in Austin.
Bro, look at this blazer. Even for Dan Ives, this is a hell of a blazer, bro. This is a floral patterned blazer.
I think it's step by step. They're going to show that they could get true level 4. And I think we're going to look back. Sunday, I think, is a historical moment for Tesla.
Is there room for everyone, though? I mean, we're talking about Tesla looking to Sunday, Waymo, which is obviously deploying in cities and continues to grow its licenses. New York City, for example, earlier this week. You've got the dark horse in all of this, too, which is the Amazon-backed Zoox autonomous fleet that's being built out, too. If you're only talking about potentially 20% of vehicles in the U.S. becoming autonomous in coming years, is there room for everyone?
Look, I think there's room for others, and you're going to have a convergence in terms of transportation tech, just like you talked about. Waymo will clearly be a player. Uber, obviously they'll partner more and more. But I think, look, when it comes to true scale and scope, I don't think anyone matches Tesla. And that's sort of our view, is that where this is going. I mean, you talk about a company, when you think about, 2 million, 1.7, 2 million vehicles per year, cybercabs, ultimately, this is something that you'll beat 300,000, 400,000, 500,000. And I think that's really true AI. That's why I believe Tesla is the most undervalued AI play in the market today. I don't think the market is valuing this piece.
I do want to get your thoughts on IBM, because you put out a new note on that. You've raised the price target to $325 per share. This is already trading at record highs, up 18% in the past 2 months. It's the other AI play / quantum play / why do you continue to be so bullish here now at these levels?
I mean, the mojo and Armonk, right? I mean, my view when it comes to IBM is that this is just the beginning. It's a page out of Microsoft's playbook. And I mean, the $100, $200 move, no one believed, 200, 300. I believe this could be a $400 or $500 stock, because it's about the install base, not even just the quantum piece, monetization on AI. And all of our checks, which is why we raised our price target, showing the adoptions continuing to increase. I think what Arvind's done at IBM, it's really the magic.
Steve's going to be happy about IBM. I don't really fully understand the IBM thesis as well, but we'll probably get Steve to talk about it next week. He's always, I mean, at least for the past 2 years, he's been pretty bullish on IBM, and that one has worked out. Speaking of AI, Meta tried to buy Perplexity. Perplexity CEO said, nope, screw you guys. And that's when Meta invested in Scale AI for the $15 billion they got inside of Scale. And Alexander Wang, the CEO, left Scale to lead some of the AI efforts at Meta. So Perplexity, again, this company's worth about $15 billion. A lot of people say they don't have a moat. I can sympathize with that. However, they're growing like crazy, and people still do like using Perplexity. They came out today with some agentic, basically shopping tools. So this idea that you can start using agents to shop. I know a lot of companies are working on this, but they rolled something out today. Google's probably going to be unveiling a lot of stuff soon in regards to shopping and basically different things that you can do, or that agents can do on your behalf. Perplexity likely takes that partnership deal with Apple, in my opinion, instead of going down being acquired by Meta, because what Meta would do is just roll them into Meta AI. And I think, Meta AI is not the most exciting thing for people to care about. So it just goes to show how much money is in the space. Like we're talking about IPOs and Circle and all, but like if Meta is ready to dish out tens of billions of dollars for this AI talent, these AI products, I think the answer is buy Nvidia. I mean, I like Nvidia in the 140s to me. Could it drop back down to 125, 130? Sure, but it's like it really does feel like it's consolidating nicely. The China revenue stuff doesn't matter anymore because Nvidia said, hey, we don't need to, that'll be like a cherry on top. We're not going to actually report it. And now it's just a question of when is all the money, the fun money and like the fart coins and all that other stuff going to go into something like an Nvidia. And when it does, I think, the market will get that momentum. Shout out to Farzad in the chat. I mean, if I had 100 million, I would give it to you just because. Farzad, I appreciate you. I did a new podcast with Farzad last night. We talked about the Iran-Israel situation, how it affects the world and the investing, how it affects Tesla, all that stuff. Farzad did get invited because he's a fancy Tesla influencer to the Robotaxi event. Also because he's in Texas, so kind of makes sense that they're inviting him when he lives like 20 minutes away. And we'll be getting a lot of content soon from Mr. Farzad inside of the first ever Robotaxi. So this is going to be exciting. This is going to be very exciting. I hate the word influencer. Dude, I hate the word influencer too. Like, I hate it. Like, I'd rather use the word YouTuber over influencer because it feels just so icky. It's like weird. But then when people are like, so basically you're an influencer, like, yeah, pretty much. It's just like, it feels like influencer to me is like a girl on TikTok who's like showing off new makeup products. Like that's what I think of when I think of influencer. I don't think of like streaming about finances, like influencer-ish stuff, but I guess you can categorize it like that. This is going to be exciting, bro. This is going to be exciting. Again, it's not going to affect Tesla's bottom line anytime soon, but the amount of coverage we're going to see around robotaxis by all these people and all the content they put out, I think it's going to be really cool. It's going to be really, really, really cool. And it'll be fun to, to see these cars actually drive themselves. I mean, my Tesla drives me around every day, but it's not like a robotaxi. One thing, Mike commented the other day on Twitter, I think this is so true. Like, most people don't even know if they have a Tesla that they have FSD. Like, I didn't even really discover it until a month after I got the car. And then he posted a story about one of his friends who had a Model Y for like a year and a half and never knew FSD was a thing. And you could say maybe that's around communication, around messaging, but like, I feel like Tesla, his suggestion was just make it free for like a year for somebody so they really understand how useful, because once you understand how amazing it is and you use it every day, like I do right now, I would cancel Netflix over I cancel my FSD. Like I cannot cancel FSD. I'm in my car. I put in the location of where I want to go. I press the FSD button and that's it. I barely drive anymore. So it's hard to cancel it once you get hooked, but getting people hooked in the first place is very important. Yeah, hopefully I'll get Farzad on to talk a little bit around Iran. Again, he's from the region. He's Persian. He has family there. We talked a little bit about it yesterday as well. He says right here, very complex. People there are tired of the regime. Doesn't mean the U.S. should go to work. Best case, people overthrow. That's basically what we talked about. So I was talking about in the morning. His family and some of the people like his father who's been involved in the analysis of just like the entire region for the past 30 years is saying people are absolutely tired of the regime and they're ready to overthrow it, or they want it to be overthrown. The question is, are they ready to actually revolt and overthrow it, or do they need an interventionist policy to get the job done? And that is the multi-trillion-dollar question, because it will cost many, many trillions of dollars if we go in and do it for them. But it will cost very little if the Iranian people have a little bit of a jolt by the supreme leader not being there anymore, and then officially them going to revolt. It is kind of crazy though. It puts it into context. It puts it into so much context how much it means to have freedom, right? And so when people critique the United States, it's like, dude, there's plenty of things to critique in the United States. But the one thing that it's hard to critique is that we have these freedoms, and they're not perfect, and they're not, they're not always going to be executed in the way that they were imagined to be from the framers. But still, you have certain levels of freedom that just don't exist in other parts of the world. And people, again, had to fight for those freedoms. This is why we celebrate July 4th and Memorial Day. Like, people had to fight for us to be free, because freedom is not free. It comes at a cost. And in other parts of the world, they don't have that. They do not have that. It's very difficult to be able to have that. Not according to Whoopi Goldberg. Dude, I feel like all the people on the daytime talk shows, they just need to like say something controversial that goes against kind of the mainstream narrative around Trump, and like they find the same thing with the New York Times and Palantir, right? They need to find a way to go at their actual agenda, which is that they hate Trump so much, and they find some type of caveat, whether it's criticizing America, which you should do, but there's some things that you should be grateful for that it seems like they're not even grateful for, or critiquing good companies that are helping the United States get their tax records straight, like Palantir, and saying that's an evil thing, which, by the way, it seems like the Palantir story is dying out. I mean, the letter that AOC sent didn't seem to have that much of an impact. I mean, she hasn't publicly commented on it either. Same thing with Senator Warren. So I don't know. And again, all of us should be critiquing the United States like in a way that actually meaningfully allows us to be skeptical of what the government is doing. We should be doing that. However, we're allowed to critique them because we have some freedom of speech. In other countries, you can't really critique. You get your head chopped off. And more importantly, when you critique America, America at least tries to live up to its ideals, right? Like we are in the pursuit of a greater union. That's the whole point. A lot of these other places are not in that pursuit. They're in a pursuit of concentrating and consolidating power. And that's not to say America is the best ever. It's just to say America, compared to some of the other places that you could live, is not the worst. And I think that's the broader point a lot of people kind of forget about. Robin at 78.50 right now. After hours, the woman on The View should move to Iran and try to do their show there. Yeah, exactly. Like that even that little basic, that's not even political, but that's a basic argument about, hey, like the free speech you get access to in this country, you don't get in other places. So if you really think you should, be able to speak freely. Oh, did you guys see this video? I think I showed you guys this video the other day of this guy who who came from the UK to Egypt to protest on behalf of the Palestinians. And the Egyptian police were like, bro, get the hell out of here. They're like, you can go protest somewhere else. You can go protest back in the UK, but you're not protesting here. And it's just always funny to me because it's like these people, they think that they have the ability to just protest on behalf of all these people that are oppressed across the world. It's like, no, some parts of the world actually don't believe in that freedom. And it's not going to be easy to get them to change their minds. But it's just a totally different world. Totally different world in so many different substrates of how we think about all this. What does Ja Rule think? That's hilarious. What else do we have going on? What other headlines did we have today? So we talked about Iran, Israel. We talked about Japan. I think the Japan thing hopefully is not going to be that bad in terms of getting a deal done. Hopefully they're just negotiating. Oil was up today a little bit as well. So that one's still spiking. Actually, no, oil was down. It was flat. Still at 75, so up 20% from last week, but flat on the day. Oh, this one was weird. Reddit is in talks to use Sam Altman's iris scanning orb. Do you guys remember the iris scanning orb from Sam Altman? It's that thing he wanted to use to scan people's eyes when they bought Worldcoin, which is his crypto. It's a little weird that Reddit, which Sam Altman is a heavy investor in, is now thinking of using it, but yeah, that one was a little confusing why that would happen. Farzad, thanks for being here. Have a great weekend, everyone. Amit, you are awesome. Like and subscribe right now to him. Farzad, thank you, brother. Looking forward to our next podcast as well. And I'm going to keep listening to Metallica. And I'm going to keep trying to listen to more Metallica. I just need to get in the rhythm of listening to that band. So we'll keep trying. Where did Oscar end on the day? Oscar's up 21-22. Yeah, Oscars did close. Dude, at lunch, Steve was like, you were trolling yesterday, right? About Metallica? I was like, no, that's how you say it, Steve. That's how you say it. So there you go. SMCI got some volume after hours. SMCI up 10 million or 10 million shares. Oh, you're right, dude. Look at that. 10 million shares after hours on SMCI. SMCI up about 2% of the day. That is a lot of volume coming in. Huh. Yeah, there you go. SMCI getting some momentum. Grab at 453. Dude, are we going to freak out over every cent Grab goes up? It's at 455 after hours. Goodness gracious. I think with this one, we all really just have to chill out and be patient. Like, at the end of the day, if you truly are convicted on the thesis, you kind of just like buy it and let it play out. But, freaking out over every 1 cent on this thing, which I get it. Like, I understand. It's just, I don't know. I think until we get clarity on what they're doing with the cash, this one's going to be stuck in a range, which is okay. To me, that's accumulation. grab up 5 cents. Yeah, dude, every 5 cents, this thing is going to make a big move. I mean, technically every 5 cents is like 1% or 1.5% or whatever. So we will see that and see how it plays out. Robinhood right here, 78.50. There was a headline on Grab today that Baidu, I mean, part of the reason Grab could have been down is that Baidu, I saw the headline, is thinking of bringing autonomous vehicles to Malaysia and Singapore. And so honestly, the headline could have been that took it down 3% on the day, that Grab might face competition in Malaysia and Singapore with autonomous vehicles. Look, is that a risk? Sure. But I think there's a couple of nuances that are pretty simple to this. Number one, it's not easy for autonomous vehicles to work in Southeast Asia, even in a place with very nice streets that aren't as crowded like Singapore. That's going to take some work to get done. And if anything, Grab has a ton of AV partnerships already that they're working on with autonomous vehicles. They announced it in the last quarter. So I don't think that just eliminates the brand presence of Grab by any means. If Tesla were to become, then it's a different story. But again, Tesla's barely getting it done in Austin. So I doubt they're going to be coming in Singapore, Malaysia. Number two, and this is something we have to understand, Southeast Asian governments are not just going to let taxi drivers and Grab employees go unemployed. In the United States, we will let that happen because we care about tech, we care about innovation, and we don't care that much about jobs in the context of stopping tech innovation. So if Tesla FSD replaces all the Uber drivers, maybe the politicians are not going to be happy about it, but they're not going to stop it. In Southeast Asia, again, I talked about this last week, Indonesia literally forces Gojek, which is the ride-hailing app, to give holiday bonuses to independent contractors. That's unheard of in the United States. That's not happening in the United States. And giving a holiday bonus from an Uber or Lyft. Imagine an Airbnb giving you a holiday bonus. Like, that's just not how capitalism works in the United States. So the idea that these, which means M&A, IPOs, all that stuff is harder because they're dealing with these regulatory institutions, which is kind of why I think Grab raised this much money, because they're going to try to figure out how to navigate the M&A environment while also maintaining their operating leverage, but not getting rid of tons and tons of jobs and hurting the consumer with higher prices. But it's one of those things that's just not easy to get done. So the idea that you just replace all these lives in Southeast Asia, many of them that don't, make a living outside of a company like Grab. I mean, Grab employs theoretically tens of thousands of people through independent contracting. That's just not going to go away because of autonomous vehicles. So the question then becomes, what are they doing with the cash? And I don't know, but I think they have a plan with the cash. So we're going to see. We are going to see. In the UK, Uber drivers are entitled to paid holiday. See, I don't know that. That's not in the United States. Steve is not going to come on today. He was on a couple days ago. He was on last night as well. We'll get Steve on next week. But Steve, dude, he had to leave dinner and he had to leave lunch even early because his corporate life is ramping up in terms of the amount of meetings he's having all day. And he is, again, I told you guys, he is one step below C-suite. So when you're like that close to the C-suite in a company, it's just like, he has a lot of freedom because he works so hard. So he can take like an hour and a half off for lunch, but he's working around the clock. And, he's constantly doing his thing. No food pics. Okay, hold on. I did take a picture of the food. I didn't post these on Twitter yet, but this is the pizza. The pizza was incredible, bro. Look at this thing. Absolutely incredible. Steve's probably yelling at someone. Yeah, probably. The pizza was amazing. There's Steve right there looking jacked. And then the chicken parm, which is the big thing that he's been obsessed about. I still have some of that. I didn't eat all of it yet. Look at that, bro. Look at that chicken parm. It's not Domino's. It's real New York City pizza. Steve paid. Bro, I tried to pay. He was not going to let me pay. I tried to give the tip. He's like, there was just no way he was going to let me pay. And then we have this cheesecake right here as well. So there you go. It was a great lunch. It's a great lunch. Patsy's, New York City. You know what he said? The top half. So there's two floors. There's the bottom half and the top half. He was thinking the top half, what if we rent it out and we do an Nvidia watch party on earnings day in New York? I think that would be kind of fun. It could host like 50 people. Nvidia stock better not tank that day, but I think that would be, maybe not the next earnings, but the earnings after that. That would be really fun because he knows the people at the restaurant and they might not even charge us to rent it out if we're ordering a bunch of food. So if we order like 10 pizzas and a bunch of chicken parms and like drinks, then maybe we do that for Nvidia. Bro had a 3-course meal in the middle of the day, dude. And this is after he had like 4 eggs and 2 bagels in the morning. Like this man eats, but Steve's not fat. He's jacked. Like Steve's not overweight. Steve's like if you guys see him in person, like he's a skinny guy. He's just like bulk, but he eats like this. I think he has a great metabolism. I think that's what it is, because he eats like crazy all day, and it just goes into muscle. So, yeah, overall it was fun. Again, dude, I can't forgive Tanner for posting this shit. This is ridiculous what Tanner. I don't know what inspired him to go to ChatGPT and freaking post this shit. But like me and Steve are looking at this at lunch, and Steve's like, I'm going to Toronto and I'm gonna kill this guy. Like, it's like, what? Like, how? Like, what did he prompt inside of ChatGPT to do this? It kind of looks like look at the Boston hat. The Boston hat, literally, like, it's ridiculous. And then he freaking follows it up with this shit. Like, it's legit insane. It's insane. The pics are the funniest things ever, dude. I'm like spitting out my pizza while I'm watching, like looking at these pics, and I'm like, what is going on here? That is AI. It absolutely is AI. But yeah, it was funny. It was funny. All right, what are you guys doing over the weekend? I think I'm gonna be out of here in 5 minutes. What are you guys doing over the weekend? By the way, can I show you guys the bricks here? Let me turn this around. Let me put this here. Should have used the bricks as my background. I didn't even notice. Look at that, bro. Look at all those bricks. I mean, I'm used to bricks because I see bricks every day, but still. Some legit bricks. There you go. I think we got to get them in the new apartment, bro. I think we got to get some bricks. Those are not fake. They're real. I know a thing or two about real bricks. Bro, people were thinking my story was fake. The freaking Robinhood Palantir story. The cashier at the bagel shop that is up 500% on Palantir. We're like, oh, that's fake. I'm like, why would I fake that, bro? Like, how do you even come up with the imagination to fake that shit? Like, I legit went to my bagel shop. The guy saw the Robinhood Gold card. He was like, oh, do you invest? I was like, yeah, I invest. I was like, do you invest? He was like, yeah, I own Palantir. I'm like, because he's up the most on Palantir. And then he showed me his portfolio. He had no idea who I was, though. He had never seen a YouTube video, nothing about it. And so it was so funny because it just shows you how big the world is, right? Like, and probably he didn't care that much. He probably invested in just like let it ride. He didn't really like follow the story that deeply. But he's pretty damn happy that the thing's at 140 and he bought it at 20. You know. The next Hood event is in France in about a week. In Paris, or not Paris. It's in South France, I think. So, dude, that alone, I think, should get us into that $80 range if the crypto platform is seen as increasing trading volumes in Europe, which would equivocate to more margin expansion in their crypto business, which crypto has the best take rate. So I think that itself could be very, very productive. Nathan says, I didn't know you existed until a month ago. Yo, put in the chat when you guys found the channel. Let's do that. Put in the chat when you found the channel. How many days ago, months ago, seconds ago, or years ago did you find this channel? Because I know we have a lot of new people that have been seeing it as well. Yeah, S&P inclusion is September. S&P inclusion hopefully is in September. If we don't get it, then maybe December, but we're going to have to see. Okay, Braden says February 2025. Costa says 3 months ago. Anand says 4 years ago. I love it. Thank you for being here. Surge a year ago. Astrokis late 2022. Cayman 2022. Eric December 2021. That's OG. Because I started YouTube November 2021. So that's OG. No Ambition 2022. Michelle says when Ray found it. Actually, Michelle, you found Ray when Ray found me because you guys got married in the chat because you guys met in the chat. So technically, you found Ray when Ray found me. But I think Ray found me in 2022. So he's been there for a while. Radis says last year, November. Luthen 8 months ago. Brian 2022. Sharp 2021. I don't think you found me in 2005, Spencer, but I guess you did. 2021 pre-FJ days. I love it. ARC G days. Was I ever bullish on? I think you mean RK, right? And I don't think I've ever bought RG. I did buy ARK at $88, and then she sold Palantir, and then I officially sold it. I was like, I'm done with this shit, and I just took the money and bought Palantir instead. But Steve, ironically, you bring that up. Steve said the next thing is ARKG, or not ARKG, but genomics. And I was like, dude, I think you're going to be right, but it's going to take a while. I don't think genomics is like the next big thing. I think eventually with AI, inevitably drugs and pharmaceuticals and drug discovery, all that stuff is going to happen. But I don't think it's going to be like an Oscar type of move or anything, or a HIMSS type of move anytime soon. I feel like there's just so much trial and error with that stuff, 2024, 6 months ago, September 2024. Yeah, there's a healthy mix of people that found me recently, and Garthik 2 months ago, and people that found me a couple years ago. Jared, 1.5 years, 7 months, 12 days ago, when Palantir was at 20. 6 months ago. Money Talks, dude. Money Talks. OG days. OG with Mr. Tom Nash and Justin O. I wish I had the video. I feel like I should have it, but there was a video of the first ever Money Talks show. It was like this debates stock market show. And the first episode they had me on, they were a little hesitant because, they didn't know how I was going to do as like the host. But my final my final sentence of the first show, is this it? It was a risk that I took making that joke, but it was a good joke, and the audience in the comments were like, all right, keep this guy. You got to keep this guy. He's hilarious. Do you guys remember what the joke was? Some of you guys remember. Do you guys remember? It was a good joke. Oh, I don't know if I have the video. They deleted the channel, so I don't think I could find it. But sometimes you got to take a risk with certain jokes, and it worked out. And it's definitely a little risky, but the audience was like, "All right, this is a good joke." Some of you guys remember it, bro. Some of you guys remember it. Got to see if I can find it. 1.5 years when Palantir was 7 and Hood was 13. I love it. Awesome stuff. 2022 or 2023, I bought Palantir in 2021. Found you later for almost all. Again, so like I was saying this the other day ago, but like I am like salivating for more grab content. I just want to see other people's perspectives, right? Because like there's not that many people talking about it. So I want other people's perspectives, and no one on freaking YouTube makes videos about this thing. And so when I saw the other guy like 2 days ago put out a video on it, I immediately clicked and I started watching. And I realized for a lot of you that had Palantir in 2022, that was part of the reason you kept coming back to the channel, because it was like, obviously the stock was down 80%. A lot of you guys got in at $8, but a lot of you guys got in at 25 and wrote it down to 8. And you were just curious. It doesn't mean I had to be right about it, or it doesn't mean I even knew what I was saying in terms of my analysis. It was just like, hey, what are other perspectives that are out there on such a niche topic like Palantir, right? Like in the grand scheme of things you could talk about on YouTube, that was like, nothing that really people meaningfully cared about outside of the people that did care about it. And so it kind of gave me some context about why people actually tune into, the content that they're curious about listening to. And then from there, you expand over time. I'm new, but you're the reason I jumped on Robinhood, bought in at 36. I love it. Hood's just been an incredible story. You saved me from not selling Palantir, now sitting over $400,000 in gains. Good. Palantir has. That's why I was saying. That's why I put out that story about the bagel guy. Like he's not up 400,000, but like he's up a decent amount, and like he's just a regular guy like the rest of us, and he took a chance on Palantir, and so. That was the point I was trying to make last night around Oscar as well. It's like these retail stocks, if they're actually good businesses and they're not pump and dumps, which a lot of them are pump and dumps, and 2021, all of it was pumps and dumps. This time, HIMSS, Oscar, Palantir, Rocket Lab, Hood, these are all real companies. Like, and you can say they might be expensive, but like they're not like scams. The NFT shit was all scams, right? These are companies that are legitimately changing people's lives. People that aren't fancy hedge fund managers or have access to all this equity research. They're just people that come across content on YouTube or X and then choose to allocate capital based on the due diligence that they see. And that, I think, is a big win for retail. A very, very, very big win for retail. 2 months, 2.5 years. Yeah, dude, it's so cool. I think there's a really healthy balance of people being here for a long time and people just joining as well. Can't believe I'm listening to your yapping for over 6 months now every single day. You know, it's one of those things. I've tried to psychoanalyze this all the time, but like there's a certain relationship you get with a streamer. It's a parasocial relationship. And you're invested in like their story, their life, all this stuff, even if you don't know them in person. And I have these relationships with like, dude, I used to watch Meet Kevin and Jeremy and all this stuff. And like, you think you like kind of know them to an extent, right? Because you're watching them every day. There's other niches of YouTube that I watch that like, I think I know the person, even though I don't know them, but I like listening to them. And so I think people just want some level of companionship when they're trying to discover or analyze new ideas, especially in the context of finance, because, you know, you got real money on the line. And so you kind of want a community there. And then, you know, then it's just a question of it almost being a habit, right? Like if you're tuning into something every single day, 2 times a day, when it's not there, it just like feels weird. So that's why yesterday felt weird, but that's why you keep doing it. Data Monkey says, Amit, respect you, dude. So many YouTubers clearly following your lead, continue to be humble, respect your influence, mate. We respect you for that. It's the number one thing, humility. I was on the phone with Chris the other day, and that's what Chris was telling me as well. Chris was just like, you just got to keep it humble, you know? He's like, the number one thing for you is like, do not become what some of the other guys have become, where like the courses and all this. Like, I don't think I'll ever do that because I've been vehemently against that for a long time, but it's the number. Like when I was talking to Chris, and like other people are trying to do the stock draft idea, and I'm like, they don't get the reason that it worked with Chris, Tanner, Matt, and Steve and I is because we all like each other. We're all friends. Like you can't just say, oh, this is a great idea, let's do this. It's like, yeah, like the idea is like a stock draft. It's a great idea. It's fun. Like you watch NBA drafts, NHL drafts. So like the draft concept already works in general. And then when you apply it to stocks, it's fun. But the reason that episode was so fun is because we all actually are friends, you know? And that is hard to replicate. That's like a real community. Like again, like building a real freaking community of actually getting friends that care about each other, that hop on each other's show and you know, talk about different things. Like it's not easy to do without formalizing like some type of way in which people come onto the show and like giving them a contract. And I was like, there's no contracts. Tanner's not a contributor to Chris is not a contributor to the channel. He just hops on because he likes, you know, the community. And that's what he enjoys from it. This might be a dumb question, but do you own Grab? Yes, I do own Grab. Money will change you. I hope not. You know, honestly, I think I'm going to be the last person that money can change. And like, obviously financially, my life has changed over the past couple of years, but the only real difference that I think money has had is it's making things easier, which is like obvious, right? Like today, right? I took a $90 Uber to come to the city. Did I want to pay $90 to come to the city? No, because I could have taken a train for $15. But also, if I didn't come today, I knew it would get delayed over and over again. I haven't seen Steve in like seen Steve in 3 months. Matteo, I haven't seen him in like 5 months, and we've been meaning to link up for the past couple months. So I was like, you know what, $90, it's really annoying to pay that, but I can afford to pay it. And that's when money has changed in my life. But that's it, because I'm not out here buying stupid shit. You know, like I'm not even replacing my iPhone, you know, like it's all cracked up and it's like it overheats and all this shit. But like, I think money changes you when you buy the Rolex and you do all that shit. And I just have no interest in that at all. Zero interest though. How will you monetize though, Amit? Will you be doing this at 65? So that's a good question. I don't know if I will be doing this at 65, even though, dude, I mean, if I'm yapping till the day I die, I don't know if that would be the worst way to go out. But in general, I think that like if I had to give you like a master plan on the way I'm going to make really big money, I think it would be through a VC fund. I think it would be make enough money in the public markets, get enough connections where you can start to find asymmetric opportunities at $5-10 million valuations, bet on them for the next 10-15 years and have them go to hopefully become public companies, right? Because otherwise, like the only way you really build like generational wealth, we're talking about hundreds of millions, right? If we want to get that deep, is you have to build a company and have majority equity in it, and then either take it public or get it acquired, or you have to invest in companies. And in the public markets, like, you know, some people do make life-changing amounts of money, but hundreds of millions, that doesn't happen in the public markets, right? Like no matter how early you get, the valuations are just never small enough to have it compound that aggressively. So unless you're working with tens of millions, then you can easily make hundreds of millions, but most people have to get those tens of millions. So I don't know if I'm going to make hundreds of millions in my life, but the only way I think it would happen is if I build a company and have majority equity in it, which maybe that happens, who knows? Or I build enough connections where I can find my Uber, at $5 million. Like Jason Calacanis, the reason he's worth a couple $100 million is because he invested in Uber at $5 million. Now, granted, most VCs will lose 99% of their money, so that's the risk that you take with it. But if you have, a couple million to play with to just throw out into the world, if you get one or two right, it could change everything. So. But to answer your questions, though, Cold, more specifically, the way to get there is to build your brand, right? The only thing I am focused on is people knowing my name and that compounding more aggressively, right? More and more people around the world knowing who I am. That's it. That's all you need. I mean, like eventually the money, the monetization, the opportunities, all that stuff, that'll follow after. But protecting that brand is so important, and building it is really difficult, dude. It's really freaking hard. But if you love talking every day and the way you're building it is through collecting an audience that listens to you communicate about ideas and things they care about, then it's just about consistency and doing it. I could have easily said, all right, guys, I can't do the market close today. I'm going to New York. But no, you got to do it. You got to be there every single freaking day. You cannot take off from this shit. And thankfully I have friends that gave me the space to do it, but you just have to be able to do it. Jarrett, thank you for becoming a channel member. Appreciate it. A lot of you guys that are becoming channel members have guitars in your profile pictures. I think you guys love Metallica. I think you guys really love Metallica for some reason, because it seems like that's what you're playing. Chris, I'm about to leave. I'm about to be out in 5 minutes, Chris. So I'm not going to be able to send you the StreamYard right now because I definitely got to get out of here in 5 minutes. But we'll have Chris on probably on Sunday for the future show. And Steve. We'll probably have Steve on for the future show as well. Who's the most famous person you've met? I think it would be Alex Harp, right? I think he's the most famous person I met. Yeah, we'll have Chris on Sunday. We'll have Chris on Sunday with Steve. But see, the fact that even Chris and Steve are there to hop on the show for 5 minutes or hop on the Sunday future show, again, it's the nature of this community that makes it so much fun. And that's why we're doing it. Tomorrow we're gonna do Palantir Weekly. We're not gonna do it tonight. We're gonna do Palantir Weekly tomorrow night. That means 15 minutes. No, I actually do have to leave in 5 minutes. But we're doing Palantir Weekly tomorrow. Comedy, thank you for the 10 super chat. Amit, aren't you afraid that when you reach 1 million subscribers that agencies will contact you and push you to do courses and such to make more money? Do you think you can resist that? They've already reached out, dude. That stuff, you don't have to hit 1 million subscribers for that. I mean, they'll reach out when you're at 10,000 subscribers. The answer is no, because dude, what would it sound like if I'm hey guys, I got this new course for $5.99 that teaches you? No, bro. It's this is fucking stupid, bro. It's dumb. It's not real. This is when I talk to aspiring creators and all right, but how do I make money? I'm you shouldn't be worried about money. You should be worried about growth, audience. Don't fucking put some restriction that you have to be a subscriber on the channel or you have to be a channel member to comment in the chat. No, just focus on growth. You need to get the growth. The growth is the only thing that fucking matters. Once you have all the growth, you can find ways to make money. Everyone's so concerned about money. It's do people even care about you? Do people even give a fuck about your life? Until you get that part of the content, what do you call it? Syllogism lining up or formula lining up. Why does it matter? Why does it matter? It's just not worth it, bro. I don't see how $5 a month for some stupid course teaching you how to DCA is valuable. But I do know that giving consistent content for free every single day will build a community that actually cares about you. And then from there, the opportunities are endless, Yes. Also, that's not the exact number that I'm up on Hood. But also, if you're doing this in the investing space, you shouldn't have to freaking charge people to make money if you're making money on your investments. He'll be here in 2 minutes, bro. Then we can dip. You just text me, so I'll be out. So yeah, I don't think you need to do that. What do you think of Palantir at this price? It's expensive. It's very expensive. I've been saying it's expensive since 65. I should have been buying more at 65, but it's expensive. So I think Triple V, he texted me today. Dude, how much did this guy make? He wrote a shit ton of covered calls at freaking 150. They all printed today. And he wrote them at 142 yesterday. So someone He made $519,904.55 off 2,500 contracts for Palantir 150 calls that expired worthless today. Worthless, zero, because Palantir did not go to 150. But someone paid him $500,000 last week at 142 because they thought it would go to 150. And if it did go to 150, he would just roll it out. Like, I really do think people need to invest time to learn about option selling. Because if you have somewhat of a larger portfolio, even if you have a small portfolio, but the larger it is, the more you can get, even 1% a month, 2% a month, 0.75% a week, it can compound. It can compound aggressively. He blew my 35K out the water. Yeah, but Elaine, you made 35,000 this week. I mean, that's still some good money. Elaine, for those that don't know, has like 60,000 Palantir shares. So, you know, you did pretty well. But yeah, anyway, in the context of that question, I'm just really, really grateful that everyone cares to be here every single day. And that's why I'm not that worried about monetizing. Again, monetizing, it's not, this is why all these, like, I see all these people on Twitter as well, where they're like, you know, I called this stock. Where everyone wants to be the guy on Twitter that like is claiming they called a stock and that they and then right after they like put out their tweet or whatever about, hey, I called this early, then it's the link to their Patreon. And it's like, it's such a toxic thing in my opinion, because it's like, if you are good at investing, you should be able to build an independent brand, make a lot of money on all these stocks you're calling without having to have a ton of people pay you $500 a month or whatever crazy stuff it is. And, you know, it just becomes a hustle at that point. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying people shouldn't do it. I just like you create a more transactional relationship with the audience. That's the problem. And the more transactional the relationship is, the more people care less about you as a person. They only know you because, like, they only have a relationship with you because they're paying you money. And like, that's not, I think that's the easiest way. If you're trying to be in this game for years, this is what Chamath doesn't get. Chamath, the guy is so freaking filthy rich and still he's money hungry. It's like, I don't get it. Why don't I have ads during the stream? After the stream is over, if you watch it as a regular video, there's ads in there. And I don't even know how many ads. I've honestly never, I swear I've never gone to the settings. I kind of don't care. I just let it do what it does. But I've also never gone into the settings to try to make sure that there's ads in the middle of the stream, because that would ruin the user experience. That'd be horrible. Imagine Rocket Lab's about to hit $30. We're at $29.97, and then a freaking Dove soap ad pops up. Like, it's stupid. It's dumb. It's hurting your user experience, and it would make you guys not want to watch the stream. So, but that means less money for me, but I don't care because the money is not worth fucking up the experience. And, you know, at the end of the day, the experience is what matters. So, all right, cool. I think that's it. Do I have an option trading video? Yes. Type in Emit Options 101. Actually, I'll do it for you right now. It's with Nancy Pelosi. We're going to do 301 soon with Jason, probably by the end of this month. Again, I'm actually at home for the next 3 months, so we have time to do this. This is a 3-hour free course. Don't pay anyone for it. Click this, watch it 3 times. I promise you, you will learn how to sell puts and calls if you watch this video and you watch it again and again and again. Take notes. I think it's the easiest way to lay out how to understand option selling. And then paper trade, then to go to ChatGPT, like do your own little back and forth with it, and then try it with like $1,000, right? Don't go balls to the wall, but I think after watching that, you'll get a lot of information on it. All right, cool. That's it. I got to leave. Do I have an OnlyFans? I do not have an OnlyFans. If there was an OnlyFans for yapping, I would absolutely be number 1 on that list. But unfortunately not. Tanner, Steve's going to have some words with you today. I'll just say that. Steve on FinTech Weekly is going to have some words with you today, because those photos, honestly, those photos should go on OnlyFans. That's how amazing those photos are. So just watch out for Steve. I'm tuning in to FinTech Weekly tonight just to see what Mr. Steve says. No, this is not the new apartment. This is my boy's penthouse that I'm in. He's building a startup here. About to go get some drinks after this. And new apartment will be in August. All right, cool. That's it. Palantir Weekly tomorrow night. And Sunday Future Show, Chris and Steve should be joining. Enjoy the weekend, everybody. Hopefully everyone gets to relax, and I will be back tomorrow night. All right. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Have a great weekend. Love you all. See you guys tomorrow night. Bye, everyone.